Good afternoon, just coming up for 1 o'clock on Sunday, the 13th of September 1987. Welcome to Harefield Hospital Television for the Healthy Heart Jog 1987. I'd like to tell you what a wonderful day it is outside, but I'm sure you've looked out of the window and seen it for yourself. It's been rather wet and mouldy, to say the least. Great puddles of water lying around everywhere. However, the sun shines on the righteous, as they say, and it has shown signs of clearing up. I was having a little walk round the course which awaits our joggers, stroke runners, stroke walkers this afternoon. Having a little walk round that a few minutes ago. And actually, there was a bit of sun and possible signs of, well, almost dryness. Allow me to introduce you to the people who will be taking us around the whole thing this afternoon. There'll be me, Charles Nove, sitting in the studio at this end. Out on the course will be Judy Walker, who's our representative at the start point. Judy, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Charles.
How is it with you?
Very, very chaotic. It must be disorganised chaos, I think. There's people milling around everywhere doing this, that and t'other, but I'm sure things are going to sort themselves out in a minute.
Any sign of the race being about to start?
Sorry, Charles, I didn't get that.
Is the race about to get underway, would you say?
I think so. I think they're just waiting for Russell Grant, who's over there, who's going to start it in a couple of seconds' time. He looks as though that he's just standing there waiting for one of the officials to come over and say, "Go for it, Russell." But everybody's just sort of like hanging around at the moment. There doesn't seem to be much happening.
You're standing in front of a very impressive crowd of people. I mean, they look like there's hundreds there. Do you know actually how many are starting?
Actually running today, the official figures for people, sort of like entries, were 1,100, but I believe there have been more people. Hang on a sec, if you hear that, they're just about to start. Russell's counting down at the moment. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and they're off! So there we see an impressive array of people, estimated 1,100, possibly more, heading off on the 1987 Healthy Heart Jog. I said at the beginning, jog, stroke, run, stroke, walk, because one of the things they've been emphasising in the rules of this event is that there's no hard and fast regulation about how fast you have to do this course. If you want to be a total show-off and charge around it like a bull in a china shop, then you're entirely welcome so to do. On the other hand, if you want to walk at a sedate pace, then you're entirely welcome to do that too, or anything in between. I'm watching, by the way, with great interest for runner number 927, who I saw when I was doing my little walkabout before we came on the air. Runner number 927, I think, is going to do the course on all fours. At least I very much hope he is, because he's a dog with a Harefield 87 t-shirt proudly emblazoned across him, and he looked very keen, certainly, tail wagging like nobody's business. Now, I've introduced you to Judy Walker, who is looking after events at the start line and has seen the runners on their way. Let's meet the other presenter this afternoon, who is Debbie Kempson, who is somewhere around the course. She's about to tell you where. Debbie, good afternoon.
Hello, yes, I'm standing outside the stand, and it's quite chaotic down here. It's good to see that there are still some people walking in, coming in to sign on. So hopefully there'll be a lot more people coming on, and we should have a good turnout, I think, this year, despite despite the weather. I shall hopefully be talking to lots of people later on. I've talked to a few people already, and they're going to come along once they've done a few laps and have a chat with us. So we'll be talking with them later on, Charles.
Thanks, Debbie. Debbie Kempson there, out and about somewhere. I have to tell you, I'll let you in on one of the behind-the-scenes secrets, that I can scarcely hear what Debbie is telling me. She's telling me terribly interesting things, I'm sure. And I thought, hello, yes, I know I can see her, but I can't hear very much of her. We'll hear more of her later on. Meantime, we've seen the runners heading off. Let's find out about the course which awaits them as they make their way round this afternoon. We'll discover precisely what they're going to face. They have a variety of journey sizes ahead of them, as we're about to find out. There are two courses available today, one for the slightly silly and one for the raving maniacs. Those that are only slightly daft are tackling the short course. It's 1 mile, and if you follow the little orange worm, it'll trace it out for you. The whole thing starts over by wards B, C and D, then past the building department, through the hospital grounds and out onto the main road, passing the King's Arms pub. Note, passing, not stopping. Thank you. Round the green, past the duck pond, down Newdigate Road, back into the grounds of the hospital through the main gate, past the League of Friends, past the laundry and fall over in a heap, back at the start line. The raving maniacs who aren't content with just a mile have rather a longer course, 3.5 times longer in fact, as the orange worm will now demonstrate. It's the same route as before until they get to the green. Then, having admired the ducks in the pond, they strike out along Northwood Road, purple in the face and out of breath, turn left through some farmland, avoiding a bad-tempered bull, no doubt, left again along Rickmansworth Road, then back in through the main gate, back along past the League of Friends, and my goodness me, they'll need a League of Friends by that time, and back down to the finish. And well done them if they manage to get round that course. 3.5 miles it is. It's today's run in aid of the Children's Ward appeal of the Transplant Trust, and this is the 7th year of the jog, or run, or walk, or stagger. I'll tell you it would be stagger if I was involved. I'm well cut out to be sitting behind a desk in a studio. If I was out there running around, I think I'd get about as far as the main gate and probably keel over. For the last 2 years, they've been collecting money for equipment to equip and run and furnish the Children's Ward. It's a very expensive business, I'm sure you know. In 1985, the enterprise raised £32,000. In 1986, 38,157. And this year, Anne Percival, who's a physiotherapist who organises the whole thing, is hoping for 40,000. So all fingers crossed there. Now, we've shown you a map of the course that's awaiting the competitors this afternoon. I'm not supposed really to call them competitors. The map of the course that's awaiting the participants this afternoon. We'll show you, I think, a different view of it now, because a little while ago we sent a camera around the course affixed to a car. In fact, one of the hardy members of this hospital television service affixed himself to the sunroof of this car and leant out. And they whizzed round the course at vast speed, which you're about to see. I think you'll find it's quite impressive. If you can run like this, you're a better man than I. Lap of the long course. If you don't fancy that, the short course may be more to your liking. Some runners beginning to appear not far from where we're sitting in our studio here at the moment, into the main gate of Harefield Hospital. These persons, I hazard a guess, have been going round the short course. I hope they have. If they've been going round the long course, Superman lives again. This lot have certainly been taking it seriously, you can see. No plain old walking or crawling round the course for this section. They've been running. The fools! It'll all end in tears. So there they go, the first of them arriving. Great hordes of them tackling the course and arriving back at the main gate. This is a very encouraging sign, and I think Debbie Kempson has found some of them, and they've probably got their breath back enough to have a word with her, I hope. Debbie.
Yeah, you might have seen some children walking around with these balloons. Well, we've managed to track down the lady who's selling them. This is Daisy South. Hi, Daisy.
Hello.
How are you? How many of these balloons have you sold today, then?
Oh, I couldn't guess. I don't know. We haven't kept, we'll tell when we add up the figures afterwards.
Quite a few. Now, I noticed that on them they say, help Sammy save a can. What is the relevance of that?
Well, the people that donated them are the Save a Can people. I don't know if you know, but in the London boroughs there's a scheme for saving cans.
What, like Coca-Cola cans?
Yes, any cans, any cans. If you take them to a local recycling centres, they regularly donate to the whole transplant trust at Harefield.
Oh, really?
Yes, so any that are donated, you know, they, all year, not just for this event, all year round. If you take your cans back, it does help the family eventually.
Oh, so we should all be saving our Coca-Cola cans?
Yes, you should anyway.
And you're selling these balloons presumably also for the trust as well, to raise money for the trust?
Yes, they've been donated.
Oh, well, that's great. Thank you very much then for chatting to us, Daisy. Now back to Charles.
Thanks, Debbie. I hope someone will bring me a balloon before the afternoon's out. Nobody ever gives me balloons. It's a very, very sad life, you know. I'm looking forward to balloons being brought into the studio before we lurch off the air this afternoon. As the programme unfolds, we'll take a look at all kinds of activities which go on to raise much-needed funds for goings-on at Harefield, including work by the Sportsmen's Aid Society, which is always active in raising money for good causes and gives an awful lot of money to Harefield, particularly to support the children's wards, which, as I was saying, need so much money to keep them going. I was quoted a figure earlier on of £200,000, I think, to furnish one, and that's before you start getting equipment in and people to run it. Anyway, outside of the studio here and somewhere back down near the start line is Judy Walker, who we met earlier on. I gather she's got some people with her who'd like to have a word. Judy.
Thank you, Charles. And with me here I have Danger Mouse. And he turned out really splendidly. Now tell me, why have you actually come here today?
Well, I do the PR for Thames TV and my father was operated on here, so it's a bit of a mixed connection. I thought we'd come along and just do a bit of promotion and thanks as well, really.
I see. So what are you actually promoting?
Well, just Danger Mouse and just to be here and have a good time and meet all the kids.
So have you come here very regularly, every year?
No, it's first time since my father was here, so we've come along this time. Read about it when I was here.
And is your father here today?
Yeah, he's over there. Somewhere, that's my dad.
So he's not actually running?
No, couldn't quite make the run.
And you're not running?
No.
And why aren't you running?
I'm unhealthy.
You should follow the Harefield fitness exercise. I believe that it's very good. Every 3 months they come back.
All right, might next year. It's Danger Mouse.
So is Danger Mouse actually running?
No, won't be. Don't think so. Just managed to walk. Yeah, too much cheese.
Cheese? It's not beer then, or anything like that.
Teetotal.
Well, thank you very much for talking to us. I hope you have a lovely day. And back to you, Charles.
I like your friend, Debbie. You look like, not Debbie, you're Judy. I like your friend, Judy. It looks like you've picked up a good friend there, Danger Mouse. Too full of cheese to run, though. It's awfully sad. Now, we're going to have a look, as the programme unfolds, as I said, at work of the Sportsmen's Aid Society. Also, some of the things that have been going on at Harefield over the past year. And we'll be seeing another popular character a little later, Superman, who's been in residence at Hamley's in Regent Street in London's West End. Don't know what Superman's been doing there, but we'll find out. I suspect the involvement of the Sportsmen's Aid Society. We'll see about that later on. Let's have a look at some more runners now. Some more runners here taking part in the full course, the 3.5-mile course. They're obviously taking a little longer to come round than the lot who are just doing the 1 mile. Just doing the 1 mile, I say. Not that I'd run a mile, but they did. This lot have been running 3.5 miles. You saw the course earlier on when we showed you our map with a little orange slug tracing it all out. They've obviously made it through the farm, which I should forms part of the long course. I was a bit worried about that because farmland's rather famous for bulls which don't take too kindly to people charging through their land. They've obviously escaped that and escaped other attractions like the King's Arms pub, which is a highly dangerous thing, I think, to have on a jogging course. I wonder if anyone's fallen in there. It'd be rather interesting to take a camera, were we able, round to the King's Arms pub, open the door and lurch in to see just who's sitting there, who's got halfway around the course and has given up and is sitting having a pint of Old and Filthy. I'm sure there'll be somebody. And then you have to go past the duck pond as well. It's all very spectacular and fairly exotic. A lot of transplant patients, by the way, taking part in the run this afternoon. There's been a lot of heart transplant patients, obviously, heart transplants for which Harefield Hospital is famous. If you see joggers with a red mark on their shirt, they are liable to be heart transplant patients or heart operation patients anyway. And people who have had heart-lung operations, and there are some of those running today, will have blue marks on their shirts, so watch out for them. It's all very colourful. I love the rabbits there, and I still like the look of the balloons. I'm always hopeful that somebody will bring the balloons in before the afternoon is out. Now, as I was mentioning earlier on, one organisation that gives a great deal of money to Harefield Hospital is the Sportsmen's Aid Society. Last year, they donated funds to the tune of £200,000, which is pretty impressive, £200,000 to the hospital. And we're going to take a look now at how the society is involved at Harefield. Here comes a look at the work of the Sportsmen's Aid Society, a very worthy organisation. £200,000 donated last year.
Another baby arrives at Harefield. This time it's Matthew. He's only 7 weeks old.
Every breath you take and every move you make, every bond you break, every step you take, I'll be watching you. Every single day and every word you say, every game you play, every night you stay, I'll be watching you. Oh, can't you see? You belong to me. How a poor heart aches with every step you take, every move you make, every vow you break, every smile you fake, every claim you stake, I'll be watching you.
And this is Neil. Neil's at University College Hospital, fighting a cancer which has already claimed one of his legs. Neil's just 15. Sadly, like so many other young cancer sufferers, he has to share his surroundings with patients old enough to be his grandfather.
Oh, can't you see? You belong to me. How a poor heart aches with every step you take, every move you make, and every vow you break, every smile you fake, every claim you stake, I'll be watching you.
This is Suzanne, and so is this. She's now on her way home, having made a full recovery.
All of these children have something in common. Thanks to the skill of the medical and nursing staff, they have conquered life-threatening diseases in far from ideal situations. The Sportsmen's Aid Society is committed to improving these conditions. They are working to provide a new intensive care unit here at Harefield, and also the first specialized teenage cancer care unit in Europe at the University College and Middlesex hospitals. But only your continued support will help them to achieve this.
The Sportsmen's Aid Society. Help us help our children.
Who can argue with that? The worthwhile work of the Sportsmen's Aid Society, and taking us through it was, of course, Rula Lenska. Taking us through the next bit and talking to somebody, we shall find out who. Here's Debbie. Yes, well, there's Debbie. We certainly saw her. We didn't hear her, did we? Mute, I think, is the term, but I'm sure we'll find her talking to somebody, and we'll be able to hear it as well. Always an added bonus in conversation, I find, quite shortly. That's the idea, anyway. One of the people we've got to watch out for this afternoon, incidentally, a lady called Nuala Lawler, who comes from Ireland, who, not content with one heart-lung transplant operation, has actually had two. And is still taking part in the Healthy Heart Jog 1987. So we'll try and find her later on this afternoon. And I was just doing some calculations earlier on. By my reckoning, 38 heart transplant patients taking part this afternoon and 10 heart-lung transplant patients. Quite extraordinary. A word from Judy, I think.
Yes. Hello, and I've got got with me Ken Pinfield here today, who has surpassed himself this year with his outfit. If I remember rightly, Ken, you were wearing a nice, pretty pink dress last year.
Right. Yes, it was. That was made specially for me.
So what gave you the idea for this costume this year?
Well, the lady who makes these for me, this is her idea, and she wanted to try and keep the theme of the actual hairs on the t-shirts. So this is why we got two of us together.
I think it's lovely. It's really lovely. Now, tell me what you've been doing this year with regards to all the hamsters and the raising of funds, etc., for Harefield.
Well, we all do our own sort of thing in our own area. There's a big thing going on in Wales at the moment. I'm personally involved in a lot of odds and ends that are going on. I go and visit people and try and sort of help coordinate certain things with them. We are proposing to run a big raffle this year, which is going to start as from January the 1st. We're hoping to raise £50,000 on that one. So if anybody's interested, please let us know. We need all the help we can because we really need it to try and finalise the money for the Children's Ward Appeal.
So will they come in contact with you if they want to actually help?
If anybody wants to help us regarding the raffle, please contact either the hospital or me, and we just need people to sell raffle tickets for us. It's a big thing. There's going to be some super prizes, but above all, we do need the money to put towards the appeal for the children's wards.
Now, you were telling me earlier about this run that people, the walk that people have done from John O'Groats to Land's End.
That's right. We've got, there's an organisation called Body, which is the British Organ Donors Association, and they've got, I think there was about 5 paratroopers that have done the walk from John O'Groats down to Land's End with the idea of publicising carrying donor cards. And we're very pleased to say that at 3 o'clock this afternoon, they're going to come through our main gate and to give us a cheer on our jog day, and I hope everybody will give them a cheer for the magnificent effort they've had in walking all that way.
So how much do they actually hope to raise from it?
They are not actually raising money. They have raised a little bit, but the general idea was to promote donors for organ transplantation, which would be kidneys, liver, hearts, corneas, and anything that is required from a body to be transplanted onto somebody who badly needs it.
Lovely. Now, before I let you go, I believe you've got a little ditty to tell about what a little girl had said to you earlier.
Well, yes, it was. I thought it was rather lovely. A little girl said to me, who is this that you're carrying, meaning the little one, and I said, it's my baby, and she said, are you a lady or are you a lady? So I said, no, I'm a man. And she looked at me, she said, I didn't think men laid babies, which I thought was rather funny. Anyway, the children have been pleased with this, and it's very warm. It's very warm in here, but...
You said something about losing some weight in that costume.
Yes, I'm going to lose about, I think, 3 or 4 pounds this afternoon in just this, which is a nice way to do it.
Well, thank you very much for being with us today. I hope you have a lovely day.
Oh, I will. I'm now going to go down to my ward, down the E ward, and stir up some of the patients. So we're going to have a good
Don't
fun.
give them too much of that now.
No, I won't indeed. Anyway, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ken. And now I'm going to hand back to Debbie.
Yeah, hi, I have with me Ray Holden, who is a heart transplant from Harefield Hospital. Ray, how long ago was it that you had your heart transplant?
Just over 2 years.
Just over 2 years ago. And how many times have you been round the lap today?
Once.
Are you walking round or are you running?
No, I jog round.
You jog round?
Yeah.
And did you come last year?
Yes.
And the year before?
No, the year before I just had it done, so I was a bit under the weather.
Yeah, sure. And how many laps are you hoping to be doing today?
Just the one.
Just the one?
Yeah, because of the medication, I get pains in the calf muscles. I could walk, but I'd rather not walk. I'd rather run just for the one lap.
That's great. And how many sponsors have you managed to get?
Quite a few, about 50.
And how much money were you hoping to be raising then?
Approximately, if everybody pays up, about £100.
£100? That's tremendous. That's a tremendous effort. And are you, have you become a member of the Harefield Hamsters since your heart transplant?
You automatically become a member.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit about your involvement with the Harefield Hamsters?
Well, apart, I mean, they have annual dinners and things, which I haven't actually been on because I've been too busy working. It's, I do lead a pretty busy work life.
Yeah, what do you do?
Personal assistant to a Saudi prince.
Sorry?
Saudi prince.
Oh, right. And where is that? Is that in London?
Well, all over the world.
Oh, that's great. So you're travelling around a lot?
Yeah.
Well, that's super. So you've just done your 1 lap.
Yeah.
Hopefully you've raised £100.
Hopefully.
Tremendous effort.
Right.
Thank you very much.
Right.
And now I'm going to hand over to Charles.
Thanks, Debbie. It's nice to hear you this time. I certainly missed the sound from you last time, but made up for it this time. What a brave man that is, after a heart transplant, still having a go at the course here this afternoon. As I was mentioning earlier, there is a choice of a 1-mile course or a 3.5-mile course. It's basically a choice between the plain daft people or the raving maniacs. If you're a raving maniac, you have a go at the 3.5-mile course. If you're just a bit sort of odd, daft, weird, then you never go at the 1 mile. And I love the rabbit as well, with his bottle of beer. Never seen a rabbit with a bottle of beer before, but you do learn something new every day, don't you, especially in this sort of thing. And still watching out for runner number 927, which is the dog I was telling you about earlier on. I'm sure he's there somewhere. He's been waylaid at the duck pond, I have this suspicion. But runner 927 hopefully hoving into view sometime. Well, that's not my favourite dog there, number 927, but I think we saw him a little earlier on. Well done, 927, the dog. And actually, rather a lot of dogs taking part this afternoon. Not to mention the animals of slightly uncertain origin, like that rabbit with his bottle of beer. And look, there's a spotty dog as well. No race complete without a spotty dog, though I see he hasn't got the regulation T-shirt or the number. Possible dodgy behaviour there. More of the spotty dog to come, I believe, and Judy knows something about it.
Hello, here I am, and I've got the ICI team here. You seem in very, very good spirits today. Why's that?
Good spirits. I think we must be worn out.
Now, your name's Kay Phil, is that right?
Yeah.
That's right. And what's your connection with the hospital?
Well, my mother's had some treatment here, some heart treatment, and my aunt works. She's the secretary for the transplant.
So did you actually organise it all?
Well, I didn't organise it here, but I organised the ICI contribution. Yeah.
So have you all got sponsorship?
Yeah, we've all got our separate sponsorships, but we also did one big donation from ICI as well. We sat in the foyer of the canteen one day with a load of tins and sort of grabbed everybody on the way in. I think practically everybody contributed something, which was quite good.
So how much did you actually raise for the hospital?
On that day we got £130, and then one of the guys, Shami,
come on, Shami.
He's got £80 worth of sponsorships coming in. How many you got, Eric?
Not a lot, about 25.
25. How many you got, Marky? 50 quid. We got 20 and so on. So we're all going to add it together and give it in as an ICI.
So you haven't got a final figure yet?
Not yet, no. We won't have until the end.
So how much have you actually run today?
Well, at the moment we've done 3.5 miles. Some of us are going on and some of us are chickening out. No, you're okay.
I've got to drag you out.
This one's chickening out.
I'd love to do it.
I'm a jog, but...
Oh, now that's an excuse for you. The dog's tired, not the runner. Will you be coming next year?
I hope so, as long as I'm still alive and I've still got my heart pounding, I'll be here. Otherwise, I'll be having treatment. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for coming to talk to us. Everybody from ICI. And now I'm handing back to Charles in the studio.
Well done, ICI, fielding a very keen team and a spotty dog. Things definitely looking up this afternoon. Thanks, Judy. And she's not going away, old Judy Walker. She's busy and versatile, as we're about to find out. She certainly does get about the place. The well-known toy shop in London's West End, Hamleys, has had some rather unusual visitors this week, and Judy has been among them.
Regent Street, in the heart of the West End, accommodates London's most famous toy shop, Hamleys. It is here during the last couple of months that they have been raising money for a special unit for teenage cancer patients at Harefield Hospital. Joe Allen and myself went along to find out exactly what has been happening. Hamleys, together with the Sportsman's Aid Society and the Canon film distributors, have set up an exhibition of the original models used in the making of the film Superman 4. Julia Moody, Hamleys press officer, and Adrian Lewis, the exhibition manager, showed us around. The artwork which was displayed shows the preliminary stages of the making of the film, an artist's impression of the action to give the camera crew an idea of how the finished product should look. The models, such as the Ice Palace on the planet Krypton and this detail of Palermo Street, used for the volcano sequence in the film, had to be accurately constructed to scale and in minute detail to achieve an appearance of reality. It is hard to believe that the models of the Statue of Liberty and of the city of the metropolis are no more than 8 feet tall. Special camera and lighting effects were also used when filming the space satellite and the tanks of the Russian army. Only 10 or 20 pieces were made to look like the force of a whole battalion. All profits from the exhibition, which ran for approximately 8 weeks, were donated to the Sportsman's Aid Society, Christopher Reeve's chosen charity, and it is thought that somewhere in the region of £25,000 has been raised. The admission fee was £1.50, and the money raised from the sale of souvenir photographs, sweets and soft drinks was also donated. Perhaps the biggest attraction was the opportunity to be photographed in Christopher Reeve's or Margot Kidder's chair with the backdrop of the costumes worn by Superman and the Nuclear Man for the film. Sting has also given his song Every Breath You Take to the Sportsman's Aid Society to help them make a special video for the exhibition, illustrating the plight of both young cancer patients and adolescent heart patients at Harefield, UCH and the Middlesex. Our thanks to Julia and Adrian for making the exhibition such a great success.
Superman wearing his underpants on the outside, or was that Batman? I always get confused with my superheroes, never could keep up. Not wearing her underpants on the outside, and just as well. Here's Debbie.
Hello, I have with me Marion and Jamie Gavin, and I understand that Gavin, when he had his transplant 2 years ago, was the youngest ever patient to have a transplant. That's right. Can you tell us a bit about it all, Marion?
Well, it was a very anxious time for us then.
You should think so.
But since, we've had a super 2 years ever since.
How old was he then when he had the transplant?
3.5.
He was only 3.5?
Mm-hmm.
Oh dear. And how was it? So he'll be about nearly 6 now?
He's nearly 6 now.
He's nearly 6?
Yes.
And you've come all the way from Dublin, have you?
Yes, we're combining with his annual checkup.
I see. So you came over when? Yesterday?
Last night, yes. We did.
Oh, that's great. So how are you feeling, Jamie? You're feeling horrible. Are you having a nice day? Yes?
Yes, yes.
And how many times have you been round then?
Just once so far.
Just once, and you're just taking a slow walk, I should think, aren't you? Yeah?
I think Jamie probably be fit to run.
Hi, Jamie. More than you are.
Yes, exactly.
He'll probably take some lessons from you.
Oh, hello.
Anyhow, thank you very much for talking to us.
Okay.
I'm now going to go and try and talk to these scouts over here. I don't know how.
Do you like school?
Hello, boys. Do you want to talk to me? Tell me what you're doing and why you're doing it and how you got involved.
No. Yes, no,
Come on.
we got with Venture Scouts from Watford. We got involved because I myself was a patient here and got involved with the fundraising, and we help out every year with this, just like marshing people, taking them off how many times they've been round.
Oh, that's great. How long ago was it then you were a patient here?
3-4 years.
And was that for a heart transplant or
It's
for
a chest operation.
Oh, for a chest operation. I see. And so is it just one pact or is it all like Venture Scouts that get involved?
No, it's just our Venture Scout unit in Watford.
From North Watford?
Yeah.
That's great. And how many have you done today?
There's 13 of us so far, but there's more on the way.
And are any of you running, or are you all just standing
No, we're all
around marking off?
No,
and having an
we're
easy
marking
life?
off an hour or so, then we're going to go and have a run.
How many laps are you going to hope to do later then?
We've got the 3-mile one, aren't we, all of us?
Yeah? How many times round?
As many as possible.
That's great.
Before we drop dead.
Well, keep
Not
the good
literally,
work
I
up.
hope.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
And now I think we're going back to Charles in the studio.
Okay.
Yes, thanks, Debbie. And one of the younger patients, obviously, to be treated by Harefield Hospital there, little Jamie. What was he, just coming up for 6 years old and looking very well now. I'm sure he wasn't looking so well a couple of years ago. Let's have a look at some of the scenes outside, shall we? With some of the runners and what's going on out there. I think they may have had enough of the running, more into the bouncing. The remainder of the programme will be presented by a balloon. Or perhaps not. Look, someone's brought me one. Things definitely looking up this afternoon. It says, help Sammy save a can. What's that got to do with events this afternoon? I don't know. Did you see runner 227, by the way? A little boy in a pushchair being heaved round the course. I think anything goes, really, at this sort of event, doesn't it? On some more important jogs, it might be construed as cheating, being pushed around in your pushchair, but I think it'll do us nicely for this afternoon. By the way, you noticed that Russell Grant, the well-known television astrologer and an all-star person, was involved in starting the race this afternoon. Russell Grant's also involved in a campaign, the Save Middlesex campaign, which he's getting going. Campaign started in June this year, aiming to make people aware of their heritage and to keep the county of Middlesex on the map. Russell and others like him feel that people are concerned about the identity of the county of Middlesex being eroded, something to do with the redefining of local government boundaries all those years ago. And he's apparently received thousands of letters and phone calls since he began this campaign to promote Middlesex's heritage and to remind people that Middlesex is actually a place in its own right. And a very nice place too, I hasten to add, because I live here too. Anyway, if you're interested in that, you can write to Russell Grant and add your letter to the thousands he's already received. I'm sure he'll be very glad as well. Over to Judy, I believe, now.
Lovely looking gentlemen here with me today, and they're all transplant patients. Right, tell me what's your name? Ex-patients. Your name?
I'm Jeff Finnegan. Eric Pyatt. And Dormer Wolf.
And when did you actually have your operation?
September 83, that's 4 years ago.
April 84, just over 3 years ago.
And you're from America?
I beg your pardon. I'm from New Zealand.
Oh, ignorance here. I couldn't even tell the accent here. Did you move to this country? And are you sort of like living in this country?
No. I came over here just to on a bit of a holiday this time. So we heard the walk was on, so we thought we'd take part in it and meet one or two old friends again.
Oh, yeah. So you came from New Zealand to actually have your operation here?
Yes. That was over 3 years ago. And everything's going well. No problems at all, thanks to Harefield.
So you come back every year, or you try to?
No, haven't been back. This is the first time I've been back since the operation.
So how much money do you actually hope to raise today?
That's a difficult question. I'd like to raise £1,000, but I don't think I'm going to make it.
£1,000? Is that how much money you've got through sponsorship?
No, I haven't quite made that much. But this is what we do most years. But this year it's a lot less than that. I'd be lucky if it's 100.
And what about you?
Well, yeah, similar to Jeff. But I think last year they raised over 35,000 totally on the day, which I think is an incredible thing.
It is incredible.
And there's a lot of transplants out there today as we've gone round, you know. We're all out to Harefield.
Yeah.
You must remember that we're raising money all the time. This is just one of the events, so we do a little bit each time rather than a big splash once a year.
So what else is going on this year, or has been in the past or the future?
Well, everybody in the transplant club, Harefield Heart Transplant Club, joins in, does his own thing, and they have sponsorship in the pubs or on local runs or bicycle events or special events, even dropping from aeroplanes. Usually with a parachute. We're not that good yet. We like to walk on water, but we can't quite make it.
Are you enjoying yourself today? Are you having a good time?
Yeah, fabulous. Yeah.
It's great to meet all the old folks, old friends. Yeah.
Now,
and the new ones too.
Did you do the 1 mile course or the 3.5 mile?
We did the 3.5.
Right, so you're off, are you? You're leaving me.
There's a man there doing this sort of thing.
Oh, this man. What is this man doing? What is this man doing?
He wants to see a close-up of you.
They don't want to see close-ups of me, I promise. But
I'm getting a good close-up from this angle again.
Well, you promised to embarrass me earlier and you haven't done yet.
No. We'll do that now, shall we?
Oh, right, take note of this.
Good, thank you.
Well, I'll let you get on anyway. Thank you very much for coming to talk to me. Thank you. I'm handing back to Charles now in the studio.
Thanks, Judy. You've made some friends there. Judy emigrating to New Zealand imminently, by the look of it. She's well and truly fixed up. I was mentioning earlier on that all kinds of things... Excuse my balloon, it's getting everywhere. I'll have to do something with it now. I was mentioning earlier on all kinds of things go on during the year here at Harefield. The jog is just one of many events that go on to raise much-needed money to keep things going here. Let's take a look now at some events of the past year at Harefield. Dave Webber has been finding his way through the archives.
Of all the events on the Harefield Hospital social calendar, the jog is probably the most publicised. Indeed, it does make a major contribution to fundraising, with a total of £38,000 being raised last year towards a new children's wing. The jog, however, is not the only social event occurring in and around the hospital. In this short programme, we look at some of the other events that have occurred since last year's jog. The open day gave local groups and societies from the village and the hospital itself an opportunity to publicise their activities. Guided tours of the hospital were arranged, with mock-ups of operating theatres and intensive care units. Dummies were used to help illustrate the processes involved, and medical staff were on hand to demonstrate and explain the complex machinery. In November, the Harefield Hamsters Transplant Club put on a variety show based on old-time music hall. At Christmas, a traditional carol concert was held in the concert hall and was well attended by patients and people from the village itself. The music was supplied by the band of the Salvation Army. In June, the annual carnival was held in the hospital grounds. The procession of floats was this year supported by a Scottish marching band, which set the theme of a Highland Games for the rest of the day. The fancy dress competition was judged by Roy Castle, who lives down the road in Gerrards Cross. Not wishing to let the opportunity pass, we collared him into giving us a song, which turned out to be very appropriate considering the prevailing weather conditions.
Come on, Roy, you have a just singing in the rain. What a glorious feeling, we're happy again. We're walking the clouds, so dark up above. The song's in my heart, am I ready for love? And we tell you now the story goes straight. Everyone from the place, la-da-da-da-da, come on with a race. There's a smile on our face. We'll walk down the lane with a happy refrain.
During King Hassan of Morocco's stay in Britain, he specifically requested to visit Harefield. It appears that the hospital's pioneering work now has worldwide acclaim. There was extensive security in the grounds, and our camera crew had to compete with the BBC and ITV to get these pictures. The King visited the children's wing and has since made a donation of £10,000 along with a quantity of sardines and dates to Harefield Hospital.
You've come to run, and how far have you run? 2 miles. 2 miles. And who's run further than 2 miles on here? Me! Oh, you've all been running for miles and miles. I've run 3 miles. 4.5 miles we've run. 3 miles. And why are you here? Do you think how come you're here? It's my dad who's got running. Your dad? Yes. Does he come to Harefield Hospital? What kind of Gonna come and have a chat over here. What about you? How come you're here? We've come to jog. You've come to jog. Why are you jogging here? It's just for the fun of it. Just for the fun of it. Do you live in Harefield? No. You don't? How far have you come today? About 15 miles. 15 miles? You didn't run that, did you? No. No, you didn't run all that way. What are you, Ian? Why are you here? Just to run. Just to run. And who's seen Danger Mouse today? Who's seen Danger Mouse? Have you all got the badges? That's right. I'm talking along. You talk to Danger Mouse. You all talk to Danger Mouse. Okay. Well, now I'm not quite sure where we're going to. I'm going to get off here because I'm feeling a bit exhausted. I think we might be going over to Charles. I'll see you soon with another interview.
Well, I have to say it, Debbie's life has its ups and downs. And rather bouncy life it is too. What enormous fun. Well, I got the balloon. Maybe if I ask very nicely, I'll be allowed out there later on as well. We saw before Debbie was addressing us from her bouncing whatever she was on. We were seeing some pictures of the carnival included in our feature on what's been going on in the last year at Harefield. I can tell you that that carnival, despite an awful lot of trouble with the weather, that carnival back in June, raised about £4,500, 4,500 much-needed pounds, and they're planning to hold another one next summer, summer '88. Planning stage has now been reached. They're busy working on what to do. The carnival should be up and running next summer. Now, a little earlier on, we did take a look at the work of the Sportsmen's Aid Society. In case you missed it, we'll have another look, because it's a very worthwhile enterprise. As I was saying earlier, they raised something like £200,000 for Harefield Hospital last year, and they're working very hard to do much the same this year. Here's a look at some of what they do.
Another baby arrives at Harefield. This time it's Matthew. He's only 7 weeks old.
Every breath you take, and every move you make, every bond you break, every step you take, I'll be watching you. Every single day, and every word you say, every game you play, every night you stay, I'll be watching you.
And this is Neil. Neil's at University College Hospital, fighting a cancer which has already claimed one of his legs. Neil's just 15. Sadly, like so many other young cancer sufferers, he has to share his surroundings with patients old enough to be his grandfather. This is Suzanne, and so is this. She's now on her way home, having made a full recovery.
All of these children have something in common. Thanks to the skill of the medical and nursing staff, they have conquered life-threatening diseases in far from ideal situations. The Sportsmen's Aid Society is committed to improving these conditions. They are working to provide a new intensive care unit here at Harefield, and also the first specialized teenage cancer care unit in Europe at the University College and Middlesex hospitals. But only your continued support will help them to achieve this.
The Sportsmen's Aid Society. Help us help our children.
With me here, who actually had a transplant operation in January 1986.
Right, yes.
Right. So you've made an absolutely remarkable recovery to be here today.
Well, most of us do.
Tell me about the actual sort of like the fitness, sort of like exercise regime that they give you after you've actually had your transplant.
Well, they start off by allowing you to walk gently, and then you gradually build up your walking pace, and you monitor your heart rate. And they try and get your heart rate up to a certain level. And in my case, I walk for half an hour to try and get my heart rate up to 120 a minute.
And this is while you're still in the hospital?
Well, we come under the hospital for the rest of our lives. We have to come back every 6 months for what we call an MOT. It's a rather apt name for it. And we have a fairly extensive test every 6 months. And we have to go to our local hospital once a fortnight for blood tests to monitor the drug regime. So we're never free from the hospital.
I see. So how long after your actual transplant did you leave the hospital and go home?
We went out into one of the flats in Harefield Village after about 5 weeks. But that's a long time, because some of them go out after 10 days. And we were home, I suppose, after about 2.5, 3 months. But again, that's a long time. Other people go home after 3 weeks.
I see, I see.
But we had complications.
Oh, no. So what are you actually here doing today? You're trying to raise money?
Yes, for the children's ward, and every little helps.
Oh, and please, how much do you actually hope to raise?
It's difficult to say because I haven't totaled it all up yet, but it'll be a few bob.
OK, so will you be coming back here every year?
Oh, yes, most certainly. Yes.
It's been lovely talking to you anyway.
Thank you very much,
Ken.
Thank you.
And I believe I'm going over to Debbie.
No.
We do.
Debbie.
Hello, yes, I have with me Ron McCormack, who is the bandmaster for the Metropolitan Police Band. Ron, hi, how are you?
Hello, nice to meet you.
Is this your first year for Harefield?
It is. We're hoping it's not the last, but it is the first at this stage, yes.
And how did you get involved?
One of our colleagues in the background here, Harry Mitchell's, his young lady actually works here as a secretary, I believe, and that's how we got involved with it.
Really? So from his girlfriend being a secretary here, he's managed to rope. How many of you are there here today?
It's about 28.
28 of you?
Yes.
On your Sunday afternoon to come to Harefield?
That's right.
That's super.
That's right, yes.
What about our only Metropolitan Police actually running today in the jog? Don't have the energy.
We do have a few runners, actually, over here, but they bottled out today. They decided against it. We'd rather play the music for the nice people.
Oh, that's lovely.
Around here.
That's great. And how long have you been in a band then, as a band together?
60 years.
60
I
years?
haven't been here that long.
I was going to say, you don't look old enough.
But thank you very much. But the band's been running Ignore them. They'll go in. The band's been running for about 60 years, but I've actually been involved about 17.
About 17 years.
Yes.
And are you, in fact, the longest member of the band, or is there someone who's been here?
No, there's somebody taller than me. No, I think actually over the far side we have Brian Clark. He's been about 30 years or something of that nature.
Oh, that's
give or take a week. Yeah.
And how often do you get together and rehearse and routine?
Normally once a week. Once a week at Wandsworth Police Station.
At Wandsworth
Police Station? At Wandsworth Police Station, that's right. That's our HQ, as they say. And then we just dart about from there, playing different places.
And how do people go about actually booking the Metropolitan Police Band? I mean, if I wanted you at my wedding, how would I go about it?
I don't know about weddings, but funerals we do a lot of.
Oh.
Weddings are not. But if you want to contact the secretary, the band secretary at Scotland Yard, they will.
I'd have to ring Scotland Yard.
That's right. They will arrange everything for you from there.
Oh, that's
we just get tickets and disappear in all directions.
And is there somewhere where you play regularly every year or regularly every month as a band?
Yeah. We play, for example, the Festival Hall. We do a concert there every year, and up until this year, we travel. We do the Eastbourne and Bournemouth jobs, which are week engagements.
What are they? Sorry.
Week engagements where we travel.
In Bournemouth.
Bournemouth for one, and Eastbourne, and St James's Park, the Royal Parks. We do the Royal Garden parties.
That's great.
All the state visits and so on. We normally are involved with all that stuff.
And this is the whole band, is it? There aren't any more of you?
There are a few who are having holidays at the moment, but it's about 32 strong at the moment.
Oh, that's great. Well, let's hear what you can do for us then. What are you going to play?
We're going to play a little thing called Rockford Files.
Great. Well, let's hear it then.
Okay, thank you.
Off you go. Thank you, Ron.
Gentleman here with me today called Maurice Hillman, who said to me, "You better hurry up, the pubs are going to be open in a minute." He said, "Quick, close." You don't want to miss getting your pint then?
Well, I need it after all that.
So how far have you actually run today, or walked?
I've run, walked, fell over in the last 3.5 miles.
And you've got, is it Saloni with you today? How much have you actually raised today, Saloni?
I don't know.
You don't know at all?
No.
Did you get all your friends and relatives and everything to sponsor you?
Yeah.
I see.
Oh, Mum, Dad, brothers, everybody.
So how many of you are there here today?
Scattered around, there's about 15.
Right. And you were telling me earlier that somebody sort of bet you some money, that so much money if you sort of like walked backwards or something on one leg?
On one leg for 3.5 miles, but I couldn't manage that.
Now, you actually came last year. Now, you were in a different costume last year. This is like Mr. Cooperman, note the C here. But what did you actually come as last year?
As a griller.
A griller. Did you have a sort of like a hat on and everything, a face and
The whole
everything?
thing.
Did you get very hot?
Yeah, that's why I decided to come as Cooper Man this year, because it's a bit cooler.
So you could actually breathe this time?
Yeah, I can breathe this time. All right. But mind you, that was only just running around the grounds. That was just a one-off. You know, so this one, this 3.5 mile, beg pardon, circuit, it's a little bit harder.
Yeah, yeah. So how much are you hoping to raise this year?
Well, we're looking at the full figures. We hope between everybody. And it's just a fun day out for everybody, and it helps the hospital.
And what's your connection with the hospital? You've got a wasp on you. Quick, get away.
Well, he's on you now.
Oh, don't, I'll run away.
Oh, my brother-in-law had a heart transplant here at Harefield, and every year we try to do whatever we can.
That's great. That's really lovely.
If you can raise a few £100, then I know it goes to a very good cause.
That's right. That's right.
They were marvellous here when Keith was terribly seriously ill, terminally ill, and now I think he's on his second course at the moment.
Oh, that's brilliant.
You know, he's running around with a red wig, so you'll find him around here somewhere. It won't be hard to find, I sort of think. You know.
So how long have you actually been coming to sort of like Harefield on the jog?
I think the last 4 years.
And you're going to keep going, are you?
Why not?
Yeah.
It's a great day out.
It is, it is.
It's a good day out.
Do you get involved in any other events in the hospital at all?
Oh, we're involved in everything. You know, Keith obviously keeps very much in contact with the hospital, and any you know, fundraising activities or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
You know, he gets everybody in the family involved in it, so you can't say no.
That's brilliant, that's brilliant. And thank you very, very much for talking to us today. I hope you keep running and made lots of money.
Oh, yeah, well, I'm going to run now, down to the car, to get into the car and get down to the pub. I'm dying of thirst, because the water they dish up going around is terrible stuff, isn't it?
Have you any idea what you're coming as next year?
A giraffe, I think.
A giraffe? And why a giraffe?
I don't know, because we've got longer legs, haven't they, slowly?
So you can run further and raise more money?
No, I can take bigger steps. That's all it is. Oh, I don't know, it depends. You know, it's just a laughing joke, and people say to you, you won't go dressed as Cooper Man, will you? You say, why not?
Yeah.
So, you know, then you get a bit more sponsorship. I mean, I've run around Ivor already this morning,
yeah.
So, dressed as Cooper Man, and people are going, what is it with this guy? You know?
You're a bit of a nutter, are you? A bit fruit and nut?
A bit fruit nut case, yeah. Yeah. Only have a couple of days of the year, though.
All right, it takes all sorts to make the world go round, and
yeah,
we need
indeed.
people like you anyway.
Oh, everybody here has the same opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, you look how many funny people you can see around, and there's
That's
nobody
right.
around here today who hasn't got a smile on their face.
That's right, they're all enjoying themselves.
Yes, indeed.
Okay.
Thank you for talking.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, we're now going over to Charles in the studio.
Judy, thank you. I gather, by the way, that the people who are walking Land's End to John O'Groats, there you are, have just arrived, or are certainly hoving into view here at Harefield Hospital. No doubt looking a bit the worse for wear. You would if you'd come from Land's End to John O'Groats. Quite where Harefield figures in that, I don't know. But they're arriving here anyway, and well done to them. "958 miles, that sign said on the back of that caravan. I don't know if you saw it, past the gentleman's neck. 958 miles. Makes our course of today look paltry by comparison, doesn't it? 3.5 miles, our long course. It's a member of the local constabulary arriving there. Perhaps they didn't pay a parking ticket at John O'Groats. And a sign there on the car towing the caravan, advertising the virtues of carrying donor cards. Indeed, I'm sure that would be echoed by everyone here at Harefield. Since most of the work of Harefield seems to be transplants, where would they be without donor cards? There's Cooper Man back again, I see. Watch out for the return of the other Cooper Man fairly soon. Russ Abbott's Madhouse, or whatever it's now called, is about to return for a new series on BBC One television. And Russ Abbott's version of Cooper Man will be there, no doubt. We have our own version of Cooper Man. There he is. I did enjoy the Metropolitan Police Band there earlier on with the Rockford Files theme. You ever noticed that thing about the Rockford Files? Jim Rockford, as played by James Garner, he's never in. Quite remarkable. How he expects to get work as a private eye, he's never there. In the opening sequence to every programme, we heard his answering machine spouting away, "Hi, this is Jim Rockford. I'm not here. At the tone, leave your name and number," and all that. I hope somebody left messages on his answering machine. On mine at home, there's never anybody. It's very depressing. You come in and find nobody's phoned you, nobody's left any messages. All terribly sad. By the way, I know it's given up raining now, thankfully, but I did carry out a small amount of research, and there has been a great research project going on, I think in America, where else, the home of all good research projects into weird things, into whether you get wetter if you're running or walking in the rain. You know, some people have this theory that if you go out and it's raining, the thing to do is to run like mad, get to where you're going as quickly as possible, and you won't get wet. To which others say, well, if you run, you're sort of driving yourself into the rain, you're going to get soaked. In fact, you should walk. Apparently, a lot of scientists have done highly scientific research. They've discovered that, on average, you will get, I think it was 10% wetter if you walk. So you know what you've got to do, don't you? You've got to run. If you go out in the rain, running is the thing. 10% wetter you get if you walk. Now, earlier on, we saw Russell Grant, we saw him briefly anyway, starting off the whole thing when the Healthy Heart jog started around 1 o'clock. I think we have actually now managed to have a word with Russell Grant himself. Let's have a look.
Okay, ready?
Okay, ready?
Russell Grant, it's lovely to have you here with us today. What is your connection with Harefield Hospital?
Well, my connection with Harefield is long and bright and fairly interesting. I was born in Hillingdon, but at the age of 1, I moved to 7 St Mary's Close at the bottom of the hill. I was head choir boy at St Mary's Church right up to the age of 15, and I started the Junior Harefield Amateur Dramatic Society at St Mary's Church Hall. And more importantly, I had my tonsils out here, where they're now doing transplants, and I've even got the old school tie on, Debbie. Bit short now, but that's Harefield Junior School, so that's my connection with the village and the hospital.
And I understand you're going to be doing some more charity work for Harefield Hospital.
Yes, I was absolutely thrilled to come back here a couple of months ago now. Brian Johnston's marvellous programme Down Your Way, they were looking for new presenters, and I was very lucky to get one of the jobs. We did Down Your Way in Harefield, Middlesex, and I'm at the moment the founder and organiser of a terrifically important and also successful campaign for the county, because so many people here get fed up with hearing Harefield Hospital London or North West London. We are Middlesex, we are in our home county, and we should be proud of that fact. So really what I've now is I've diverted all of my shall we say, excess energy away from other charities, totally now devoted towards Harefield Hospital and helping Magdi and everybody else to try and get the children's ward set up perhaps a bit sooner.
That's lovely. I understand also you've travelled quite a way to come and see us today. Where have you come from?
Oh, we can thank the BBC for this one, because I'm actually doing a new series down in Cardiff. And I left TVAM on Friday morning, went down to Cardiff, drove back from Cardiff this morning, driving back to Cardiff after this, to do this television programme. So thanks, BBC. That was really great of them. And hopefully by being here, well, I know there's 20 pence more because I had to go on the hoopla and lost.
That's lovely, Russell. Thank you so much for spending time talking to us.
You're welcome.
Debbie with Russell Grant, who, if understood correctly, seems to have had a tonsil transplant. This can't possibly be correct. Tonsil transplant? Very weird indeed. Now, Judy, I understand, is going to talk to somebody about the work of the Transplant Trust. Judy.
Hello, I've got Dave Price with me today, who's an absolutely staggering gentleman, if I might say so. Have you been called that before, staggering?
Staggered. Yeah.
Staggered. Now, you had your transplant in November.
That's right, yeah.
That's right, and you have done some amazing things since then, I believe, sort of athletics-wise.
Well, I've done the London to Brighton cycle ride.
And how many miles was that?
56.
Uh-huh.
That was on June the 21st. That was 7 months after the operation.
Uh-huh. And how many miles have you actually run today?
3.5.
That's right. And how much sponsorship are you hoping to raise for the hospital?
About 100.
Right.
I really don't know for sure.
Uh-huh. And are you involved in the hamsters at all?
Yes,
I believe?
yeah.
What do you actually do for them?
Oh, well, I'm only a member. Yeah.
What sort of events do they organise?
Oh, annual dinner. They have the float in the Harefield Carnival. all various things they do during the year.
And what do you actually do to keep fit all year? I mean, if you're doing all these cycle rides and the jogs and everything and all this sort of thing, what do you actually do to sort of like keep yourself in tip-top condition?
Well, they give us rehabilitation nursing, and as you get fitter, so they give you a longer distance to cover in a certain time. Now I'm doing 3 miles in 42 minutes every day, or 5 days a week.
So you actually run every single day?
Well, walking and running, yeah. I walk so far and then jog so far. Yeah.
Have you got any sort of like events planned for the future, sort of like more cycle rides or runs or anything?
Yeah, I'm hoping I should do the London to Brighton next year. I'm hoping to do a 10-mile fun run, but that'll be about February.
You've made an absolutely amazing recovery. It's absolutely terrific to see you. Thank you very much for being interviewed, Dave. Thank you. And now I'm handing back to Charles in the studio again.
Thank you, Judy. And I think we're going on to talk to Debbie, in fact, immediately. Debbie.
Hi, I have with me a reluctant interviewee, Carl. Carl, hi, how are you?
Fine, thank you.
How are you? Have you been running today?
Yes.
How far?
3.5 miles.
You ran 3.5 miles?
Yeah, once.
That's great. And how are you being sponsored?
Yes, I am.
By how many people?
Not a lot.
So how much money are you going to be hoping to raise?
A lot.
Approximately how much?
Maybe about £100 or less than that, but we'll see how it goes.
That's great. Now also you're going to Austria, aren't you? At some point for the International Transplant Games. I want you to tell me all about that.
Well, I've been picked by the British squad to represent England. Well, represent Harefield mainly, and there's a squad of 28 or 32, I think, and we'll be taking part in all different events. We'll be taking on the Europeans, where we have the British transplant, where we just take on all British opponents. And I'll be doing the 100, the 400 meters, the 4x100 relay, and the long jump.
And the long jump as well?
Yeah.
Now, how did you get on in the end at the Transplant Games in Exeter?
Well, I won the gold in the 400 meters. I got the silver in the 100 meter sprint, and I got the bronze in the long jump.
You got the bronze in the long jump, that's great. And are you looking forward to going to Austria then?
Yeah.
Who are you going with? What other people from Harefield are going?
Well, you see that pretty little girl behind that lady over there, right? She's hiding at the present, right? Get out there, Maria Botas, get out there. Her. She's going with me. And there's Jeff Finnegan, another patient in this hospital, is going as well. So
What's Jeff going to be doing?
I don't know what event he's doing because he's not picked for the British squad. He's going on his own. So he normally does the table tennis and the tennis and other events. But as I said, he's not picked for the British squad, so his name's not on the list. So I can actually say.
Oh, when are you actually going to Austria then? When's the big day?
Well, I leave on Tuesday and I'll be there on Wednesday. So I've been told by someone else who's already been there for the other games. You train on reach on Wednesday, you train on Wednesday, you run on, you take part on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I think, and Monday you got free for yourself.
So you got one day off?
That's right.
You've got a lot of hard work ahead of you, haven't you?
True.
What time are you flying out on Tuesday?
I have to be at Heathrow Airport, Terminal 2, 8:15, Lufthansa. That's it. I believe you finish it.
And then you'll be finishing it. Well, that's great. Well, now, Carl, if you remember, we actually did some coverage of the Transplant Games in Exeter, and here they are.
The Transplant Games held in Exeter, as you'll have noticed there, and the International Transplant Games coming up a little later this year to be held in Austria. Back here in good old Harefield, here's Judy.
Hello, now is it Lindsay and Vicky? I've been practicing this for a few minutes now. Lindsay, Vicky, I keep getting them mixed up here. Now you've come from north of Watford. North of Watford. Yeah. You were telling me earlier, I was saying north of Watford. I'm a Londoner, I don't know where north of Watford is, you see. So what have you actually come here today to do? Just raise money and everything?
Yeah, just raise money for the hospital.
Yeah, and your hair is lovely. How long did it actually take you to make?
Bought it.
You bought it, you cheats. Turn around, show the camera so that they can all see. That's terrific, that's really good. So how long have you actually run today?
5 miles.
5 miles, and how much are you hoping to raise?
I haven't got a clue, really.
You've got no idea. Who have you actually come with today?
My family.
And how many of you are there?
5.
5, I see. And what's your actual connection with the hospital?
Nothing at all, just run for it.
You just
raise money for the hospital.
That's terrific. The only sort of thing that I've been geared up about today is my bow in my hair, but I think I've made an effort. Next time I come, I think I have to buy one of these wonderful hats. You look great, and congratulations on raising lots of money and everything. Thank you. And we're going back to Charles in the studio.
Do you think I'd suit hair like that? No, probably not. I love that hair, it's great. And Judy, of course, with her gold bow in her hair. What a bunch of smart people. I know I'm letting the side down. Back to Debbie.
Right.
Let's start with him, Ben Nevis.
Hi, I have with me Kevin and Bob. I have Kevin and Bob with me, both of whom are heart transplant patients from Harefield. Now, how long ago was it that you had your heart transplant?
3.5 years.
And yourself, Bob?
Getting on for 4.
Getting on for 4 years. Now, both of these brave men have a story to tell. First of all, you, Kevin, you had your transplant 3.5 years ago, and I understand you, since then, have done something quite tremendous.
Oh, yeah, I've been up a few mountains raising money for the trust. Ben Nevis and Cadder Idris, if you know
When
it, in
did you
Wales.
go Ben Nevis?
Let's see, like a year before last. Climbed Ben Nevis in, 5 hours, up and down.
Up and down in 5 hours?
Yeah, up and down in 5 hours, yeah.
Well, that's quite
no
incredible.
problem at all. And the year before, we went up Cadder Idris, if you know it, the big mountain in Wales.
No, I don't know that one.
Yeah. And we hope to do in Snowdon next year. We were going to do it this year, but the weather being bad, you know.
Well, typical British weather, unfortunately,
yeah,
isn't
it's
it?
typical, that is, yeah.
So you climb the mountains too, and you do it as a sponsored thing?
Oh, yeah, to prove that we're as normal as anybody can be, you know.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah, you can run, you can climb, you can do anything, you know. Very, very
well, Bob here has had first-hand experience of. Tell us, Bob, about your trips to Canada and why you've been to Canada.
Why did we go to Canada? Well, in Canada they have a program, it's called a rehabilitation centre. At this particular centre they have heart transplants, bypass plants,
bypasses,
yeah. And with the right exercise and the right diet, if you carry out their program, you can get back to normal living. In other words, you're not a freak because you've had a transplant.
I don't think you're freaks,
But some people think you are.
Yeah,
right, so they come over here and tried it on transplants. Okay? And there's a spread to catch a mackerel. The ones that progressed the best had a chance to go to Canada for a fortnight's holiday.
Oh, really?
So we had to go and got it.
Well, that's tremendous. So who else did you go with?
Kevin Noland.
Yeah, that'd be me.
And another chap, he went, what was his name?
Yeah, what was his name? Dave Allen.
Dave Allen.
Yeah, he's around here somewhere with his wife.
Yeah, so I went out there and did a bit of running and jogging to promote the...
that's right, the trust.
And did you find that the rehabilitation centre really did help, and has it helped you?
Yeah.
Because you've both been, haven't you?
Yes, it's helped me as well, didn't it? Yeah. It's during that rehab programme that I went up Ben Nevis.
Oh, really?
And up Cadder Idris, you know, the big mountains.
In what way?
I hope to do Mont Blanc in a couple of years' time. You know, really
My goodness, you're so ambitious.
I don't suppose I'll go on ropes and that, but I will walk as far as one can.
Mind you, they're carrying on that programme here. The Harefield Hospital are doing it now.
Oh yes, they are doing this programme. Those that are willing to take it up. Yeah.
The one from Canada?
Yes.
They've got all the ideas and brought them to
Correct.
Harefield.
They're doing it themselves, that's right.
So who's operating it in Harefield?
His name there, isn't it?
No, it's a male nurse. I don't really know his name.
Yeah, but
you probably.
Okay, well that's great. And how far have your boys run then today?
7.
7 miles.
7 miles?
Yeah.
And that's all down to this great rehab thing, is
Well,
it?
he did help a lot. Oh, yeah.
Very part of
I don't think we'd have done it without that programme.
Well, you both certainly look really tremendously fit and healthy.
Thank you very much.
Great.
Yeah.
And now, I think we're going to hand over and watch some runners do some more running.
An impressive selection of people and a lot of dogs again. Did you see the spotty dog again? Do you think the spotty dog has escaped? I think he probably has. Actually, the spotty dog has probably had the right idea. Rather wet day. Shouldn't take a dog out on a day like this. Get rid of it. It's escaped. And we've got the girls with the spiky, stringly, spangly hair, and our own Judy and Debbie out wandering around seeing what's going on. As we saw earlier on, the Land's End to John O'Groats walkers have turned up. They're around in their caravan, having covered, what was it, 980-something miles? Quite extraordinary. The United Kingdom never looks that big, does it? If you look at it on the weather map when Bill Giles or whoever is doing the national weather, you look at the size of the United Kingdom compared to the rest of the world, and we look so inconsequential, so small. How can there possibly be 980 miles to cover? But I suppose there is. We hope to be talking to the Land's End to John O'Groats walkers a little later on. They're probably highly out of breath just now. In fact, they've probably found their way to a pub. I wouldn't blame them for a moment. What is going on outside? I don't know. But hopefully we'll have a look and see what's happening outside. There's a couple of very weary-looking figures making their way over what looks like the finish line. There's a couple of weary-looking figures walking hand in hand by the look of it, just coming up for the final bend. And there's another of our pushchair candidates. Pushchair's doing particularly well in this year's jog, I think. Incidentally, the enormous puddles of water which had gathered on the main road out there earlier on when I came in about 10 o'clock in the morning, huge puddles of water out there, they appear to have dried up, thankfully. What we're actually looking at is, I'm told, recordings of what was going on half an hour ago. These weary-looking souls, this was them half an hour ago. They're probably all perked up now. In fact, they're probably leaping around on that bouncer that Debbie was reporting from earlier on. As the refreshment stop, a very important place in any enterprise like this. Twin pushchair pushing in for refreshment stop too. Who can blame them? Hoping to have a word quite shortly with Anne Percival, who is the organiser of the whole event. She's a physiotherapist. I think there could be some candidates for her services here very shortly indeed. Now, do you remember the Land's End to John O'Groats walkers I was telling you about? I understand we're able to have a word with them now. Ah, perhaps not. They may have escaped.
Yeah, hi. I have with me John, who has just walked from John O'Groats. John, can you fill me in a bit about what's been going on? Because I'm not quite sure.
Yeah,
why you walked from John O'Groats to Harefield today.
The background to the walkers, I did it with 5 paratroopers who I served in the parachute regiment with. At the end of '85, I had a liver transplant due to a couple of liver diseases I caught in the jungles abroad. So since then I've run London Marathon, etc. And we're doing this walk for 3 main purposes. 1, to promote multi-organ donor card. 2, to promote computer registration. And 3, to show the success of transplantation, which not many people seem to realise.
No, they don't, do they?
No, they don't.
So when did you leave John O'Groats?
We left John O'Groats August the 1st and finished Land's End September the 10th.
September the 10th?
Yeah.
And how did you arrange or organise for the drop-in to Harefield?
Well, one of the themes of the walk is we're going to visit every transplant hospital on the walk. And today we're going to visit Harefield. It just so happens that you've got your big day, so it's worked out well.
Oh, that's tremendous. What other hospitals have you been to see?
Well, we're going down to Addenbrooke's on Tuesday. We've been in Oxford, Newcastle. We've been in every transplant hospital, basically, all over the country.
Oh, that's tremendous. And getting down to Lanzon on September the 10th?
That's right.
And how many of you are there? I noticed that you had 2 other people in the League of Friends with you, and I know 2 have popped down the pub to get some beers in.
Yeah.
What about the rest of you? I mean...
Well, I've got 2 lads I fought in the Falklands with. 3 lads joined us in Exeter because we had another 3, and they were dragged away by the army, so another 3 joined us in Exeter.
So you're all army boys that are doing this?
Well, I would say parachute regiment.
Parachute regiment?
Yeah.
Oh, that's tremendous. And how many of you did you say there were in total? 5?
There's 5 in total. 2 in that pub, 2 in that pub, and 1 in there smoking.
Oh, that's great. And how many of you have had transplants? Just yourself?
Just me, yeah.
And that was a liver transplant?
It was, yeah. Moral of the story is don't go to the jungle.
Yeah. I think that's a good one to say. But John, thank you very much indeed for talking to us. And now I think if we have time, I'm going to try and find Anne Percival and have a chat with her just over this way.
Mary's collector as well. Mary's collector.
No, I haven't.
It's Dorma and Anne Wolf come all the way from New Zealand to be with us today.
Oh, that's tremendous. Yes, nice to meet you. Sorry, what was your names again?
Dorma Wolf and my wife Ian.
Hello. And what is your connection with Harefield?
I had a transplant done here about just over 3 years ago. So come back to see Ian mainly, not to run at the...
I was going to say, have you done any running?
Oh, yes. We did the track, we did the course.
You went round the one?
Yeah, just the once. That was quite sufficient.
And have you got some sponsors that you've gathered up from New Zealand?
No, actually, we didn't realise you have sponsors. The information was at the hotel in London when we arrived, so we were too late to get sponsors.
Just being here, was it? I know, it's tremendous. And when did you arrive?
Here?
Yes, in London.
Oh, we were here about 10 days ago.
So you're having a bit of a holiday as well, are you?
Yes.
Yeah, it's a shame about the weather, isn't it?
Oh, well, New Zealand in spring, so it's, England in the
England in the autumn, New Zealand in spring. It doesn't make much difference.
And is this your first return visit to Harefield?
Yes, since the operation, it's our first visit over here.
Oh, that's tremendous.
Yes.
What an occasion. That certainly is. And can you tell me just how many people have actually turned up today?
We've got about 1,200 running, and so
say another sort of 300 or 400 watching. So we're approaching the sort of 1,500 mark.
Oh, that's tremendous.
Which is quite a few. I mean, it looks quite busy.
It looks very chaotic, doesn't it, actually?
Well, I hope it's reasonably organised chaos. The only problem is the start. Everybody wants to be at the front.
That's right.
And that's always slightly chaotic, to say the least.
Now, the last time I think we talked to you was last year's jog. How much was raised in the end?
We raised over £38,000 on last year's jog, yeah.
That is great. Now, this is to go towards the children.
It is. It's to go towards. We haven't started it yet, but we're getting the money for the building and then for equipment.
What are you doing in that?
Sorry, it's my voice. And the idea is to get all the money together before we actually start it. And there's a big board up over there to show everybody how far we've got, because we want 850,000, and we started today with 650,000. So we've come a long way up over the time we've been collecting.
So you're looking at another £200,000.
We're looking at another £200,000.
And you're not too much. And you're hoping to start building next year, are you?
We're hoping to start building next year. We've got a big project on at the moment with a new intensive care unit being built, and as soon as that one's finished, then the children's one's next.
Right. Do you offhand remember who the star runner of last year was?
I don't remember who it was. I know it was a young local guy who ran 7 laps last year. But what do you call a star runner? They're all star runners.
Absolutely. But I remember from the year before there was a young lady who had done so tremendously well. She'd raised an enormous amount of money.
Oh, Debbie Leonard raised £2,000 last year. I haven't seen her yet. I think she's somewhere here. She said she was coming. But I haven't even found her yet.
Okay. And how much are you hoping to raise this year?
Slightly fewer people last year because of the weather. We'd like to make 40,000.
Let's hope we make it. That's great. And now I think we're back to Charles in the studio.
Thank you, Debbie, and Anne Percival there, who's put a lot of work into organising this run, as she did last year as well, all in a very, very worthy cause indeed. Now, the Sportsman's Aid Society. Let's have another look at the work of the Sportsman's Aid Society, which, as I mentioned earlier, makes very big donations to this hospital.
Another baby arrives at Harefield. This time it's Matthew. He's only 7 weeks old.
Every breath you take, and every move you make, every bond you break, every step you take, I'll be watching you. Every single day, and every word you say, every game you play, every night you stay, I'll be watching you. Oh, can't you see? You belong to me. How my poor heart aches with every step you take, every move you make, every vow you break, every smile you fake, every claim you stake, I'll be watching you.
And this is Neil. Neil's at University College Hospital, fighting a cancer which has already claimed one of his legs. Neil's just 15. Sadly, like so many other young cancer sufferers, he has to share his surroundings with patients old enough to be his grandfather.
Oh, can't you see? You belong to me. How my poor heart aches with every step you take, every move you make, every vow you break, every smile you fake, every claim you stick, I'll be watching you.
This is Suzanne. And so is this. She's now on her way home, having made a full recovery.
All of these children have something in common. Thanks to the skill of the medical and nursing staff, they have conquered life-threatening diseases in far from ideal situations. The Sportsmen's Aid Society is committed to improving these conditions. They are working to provide a new intensive care unit here at Harefield, and also the first specialised teenage cancer care unit in Europe at the University College and Middlesex hospitals. But only your continued support will help them to achieve this.
The Sportsmen's Aid Society. Help us help our children.
Working hard all over the place, raising money for this hospital and others to make a brighter future for children in need of medical help. Let's have a look at outside of where we are in the studio and see what's going on out there, shall we? The local vintage car club has been in action, and indeed the local bus service. Not vintage bus service, I don't think, although some buses a bit rickety and raggedy on these roads. No, there's a fine old registration. FKN 224 on what, a 1936 standard. It looks marvellous. Fielded by the local vintage car club, as I said. Looks like a couple of Boys Brigade members arriving there. Or is it the Sea Scouts? I joined the Sea Scouts once, but my tent sank. That joke was first broadcast on the BBC Light programme in 1945. The scene you're seeing now, by the way, not far away at all from where I'm sitting speaking to you now. I'm sitting in the Harefield Hospital television studio, just round the corner from what you can see now. Indeed, in a few minutes, we'll have a look at how it all works, or some of the aspects of how it all works. You don't want to know the deepest secrets, believe me, you don't. Debbie joins us now. Debbie.
Yeah, hi. I have with me Bob Hudson, who has run a tremendous distance today. How far have you actually run, Bob?
8 miles.
8 miles.
Yep.
So how many times is that round the circuit?
That's twice around the long circuit and once around the short.
And have you got a lot of sponsors?
Quite a few, yes. Yeah.
So how much
I've got myself being sponsored, and I've got 17 of my family running today.
17 of your family?
Yes.
Oh, we should get them all together.
They've come up from Wales. Dot, where are they all? They've come up from Wales and Worcester and all around, you know, around the country.
Oh, that's super. And you yourself, are you from around Harefield?
No, I'm from Oxford.
And what is your involvement with Harefield?
Just come here for the operation.
Right. Which operation was that?
The coronary bypass.
How long?
And next year they've asked me to redesign the T-shirt. I did the 85 T-shirt design.
Oh, did you?
This is my own designer one, this one.
Your own designer wear? Yeah. That's super. And how long ago was it then that you were a patient at the hospital here?
1984.
84, you're tremendously fit. Aren't you? Look at you, my goodness. And you're on Granada television as well this week.
Yes, we did a walk on park for a new film, well, a new series, a 13-part series coming out probably next year. It's called Game, Set and Match. And just a walk on park.
And what is this that you have here on your hat, this newspaper article proclaiming your fame?
Local press, just to raise some money for the fund. Nice little heading. Bob's.
Heart up, Bob, in cash dash. That's great. The journalists always get it right, don't they? Well, Bob, thanks very much for talking to us.
Thank you very much.
And now I think we're over to Judy for an interview.
Thank you, Debbie, for that. Now, I have with me here Rosalie and Janet, that's Rosalie and Janet, who are from the Hillington 18 Plus Committee, Society?
Social Club.
Social Club, sorry, I've got it wrong. Now, tell me all about this actual social club.
Well, we meet every Wednesday down at Denham Football Club, and it's a social and sort of social club, really. We do lots of different activities, some charity work, there's discos, sports events.
Go to the pub on a Sunday as well.
You can say, you're not meant to say that on television, but say it again.
We go to the pub.
Every Sunday night.
Every Sunday night?
Well, yes, Sunday night.
How did it actually get started?
Oh, it's been going about 8 years now, I think it is, isn't it?
8 years, yeah.
It's a sort of nationwide organisation. There's lots of different sort of clubs all around the country which hold, you know, various different events that you can attend to. And so a group of us came today, there's about a dozen, and we sort of hope to advertise the club a little bit coming along.
There are 250 groups, 18 plus groups around here.
Around this area?
Around London, 250.
Do you ever get together at all and have a big annual event?
We have the discos. Each group will have like a disco, like Chiswick's group would have a disco, and we all meet up and
they have weekends away, like to Bournemouth, or they have sports weekends, don't they? Sporting weekend and shooting weekends they've had, haven't they? Different things like that. We don't got things like that. The blokes like that. Yeah.
I see. How much are you actually hoping to raise today for Harefield?
We're not quite sure actually. Everyone's sort of had individual sponsors, so we don't really know as such.
I see. And what other events have you sort of like got organised for, you know, the future and Christmas and all this sort of thing?
At the moment, our charities is the RSPCA. We're raising money for them.
We've done the guide dogs as well.
A guide dog?
We've done guide dogs. We've just been in the paper.
Bought a guide dog. We bought a guide dog.
Come a bit closer. I'm in a bit of trouble here. You hope you enjoy your sort of like work. Do you actually sort of like meet loads and loads of different people all the same age and everything?
Yes. Because nearly every week there's different events on different clubs hold, and you go to them and meet, you know, different people.
Yeah. How many people are actually in the Hillingdon branch itself?
It's about 40 is it 50? I think it's about 50 now. Yeah.
So it must be really good for you all to get together and sort of like socialise and everything.
Yes.
You don't sort of work in the same place or anything? It's everybody who's welcome?
Yes, everyone's welcome. Yes. So we just hope we might get a few more members coming today, sort of, you know.
Have you been avidly recruiting then around?
We gave out some leaflets. We had some leaflets. We've given out about 100 leaflets, so hopefully we might get a few people.
Yeah. I see. So are you hoping to sort of like do any really big major events next year?
We have the Wild Game.
Oh, the Wild Game.
Wild Game, which is the event of the year, which is, I can't remember what woods. Langley Woods. Yeah. And everybody, all the 18 plus meet there, and we hunt ducks in the woods, in pitch black, and there's like barbecue stew afterwards.
They're not actually ducks though.
No, I was just like that. To be straight, you meet and you hunt ducks in pitch black.
Yeah, actually, there's some men have duck whistles, you see, and they blow these whistles, and you have to try and locate them.
I see.
Yeah.
So you have to be a bit mad to be a member of this social club, do you? You have to be willing for a laugh, willing to do anything.
Yes.
Go out in the pitch black and hunt ducks. Yeah. I see. Fine. What did you actually do last year?
What did we do last year? We've done so much. It's difficult to...
So you're working on things all the time. Yeah. Well, that's really terrific. It's been really nice. I love all your ears and everything. You said that kept falling off.
Yeah. That's when we started to run, didn't we?
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Right, thank you very much. Okay, right, I'm now going to hand back to Charles in the studio.
I feel left out without the ears now. Better do the rest like that, perhaps. I think that as the afternoon draws to a close, what's sort of heading up towards 3 o'clock now, we're just about seeing the last of the runners, the last stragglers coming in. Let's just have a look at the remainder making their way in. Still some energy being displayed there. Quite impressive. A couple of people actually running. Some folks on bicycles, they've got the right idea. No sign of the Spotty Dog. Spotty Dog has obviously given up. Somebody in a spotty suit, mind you. Not quite the same, though. So as it all draws towards a close, perhaps we'll just have another little look around what was being faced by our runners this afternoon as they had to make their way around one of the courses, the 1 mile or the 3.5 mile course. Here it is. We're back to the bouncer. No sign of Debbie. She's obviously been thrown off. They finally discovered that she's actually not aged under 10. Been thrown off the bouncer in disgrace. There's some legitimate people having a go on it, though. And a great deal of fun it looks, too. I think I might have a try at that a bit later. There's another runner making his way boldly towards the finish. 2 even. And some weary folks, having rather given up jogging or running. But they're still walking, not crawling. This is a good sign. And their efforts rewarded with a glass of something, I don't know what. It's probably not alcohol, though. Orange juice or something worthy like that, I dare say. A last-minute dash there. Is it a dash for freedom? No, a dash for the finish, I think. We've seen them before, I think. Do you think they're sneaking back out for another go? Some people never give up, do they?
Camera 6, we're ready.
Some customers for the ice cream van, I dare say. It's one thing I'm certainly into if I've been into violent exercise like leaping around the place or running for buses or anything like that. Go and get an ice cream down here. Sorts you out in no time. A word from Debbie, I think.
That's good for this trip.
vehicle.
Yeah, hello. I have with me June Ward, who is the secretary for the Uxbridge and District Vintage Vehicle Society. June, can you tell me exactly why you're here today?
Well, we're here today not only to support those runners, but also to promote next week's Drive to Happiness Day, which is being put on by the Uxbridge Club. And we're hoping to raise the money for the children of Harefield. It will be held in the North Ward grounds from 10 till 5, and we have lots of attractions, including the gaffer stunt man with his car of the world record holding domino stunt. And he's raised an awful lot of money for us doing this stunt, breaking his own record, and he will be with us as well. Plus the usual arena events, vintage cars, commercial vehicles, military vehicles, even putting on a wartime encampment.
Oh, that's great. So how many cars, vintage cars, are you hopefully going to have here next weekend?
Not very many vintage, I'm afraid. Even this one is not classed as a vintage. This is classed as a post-vintage. Vintage only goes up to 1930. This is a 1938. But there will be about, I should imagine, about 4 or 5 actual vintage cars. The rest will be post-vintage, post-war, collectors, commercial and public service vehicles.
How many collectors then and post-vintage vehicles are you hoping to
Collectively, I'm hoping for 50.
50?
50 vehicles, I'm hoping.
And so in what way are you hoping to be raising money next week? Just by donations, or are you holding a raffle, or what?
We're holding all sorts of things to raise money. The cars, obviously passing on their entries to let me know which cars to expect. And most of those cars are sending along a donation to the fund. We are having a raffle and a tombola, a bring and buy stall. Everything we are having is all being donated. Even the pony ride is being donated by the Charleville Riding School of Hayes. And of course we're having the collection boxes out as well to really boost the funds.
Now when you say you're trying to raise money for the children of Harefield, is that for the children's wing that they're building here at Harefield Hospital?
That is correct, and to equip it out.
Well, that's lovely. Well, keep up the good work, June, and I hope it goes really well for you next weekend.
I hope so.
Thank you very much. And now I think we're back to Charles in the studio again.
Thanks, Debbie. I used to have a vintage car, you know. It was nothing so attractive as those ones there. It was an aged, red and rust-coloured Volkswagen Beetle. Various bits of it held on with bits of string. A very precarious vehicle indeed. Never managed to interest any veteran car societies in that. The only people that were interested was a scrapyard. Most insulting, really. Let's have a little peek outside and see if there's anything going on there with the remainder of the runners. Suspicious number of ambulance men in attendance there. As long as they're just looking for customers and haven't actually found any. There's somebody still going. Passing the sign that says 15 miles an hour. Don't think he's quite doing that. One thing about being rather local to where we're taking the pictures from, I've just seen my car. Rather cheering prospect, actually. I know it's there. I know no one's stolen it. Got a bit of a shock if it wasn't there, mind you, wouldn't I? I think I'd have been out of here by now. There's a youthful entrant being carried along. He looks a bit footsore, that chap. Oh, a sudden burst of energy. There's a dignified pace being followed down to the finish, and my car being seen again. My goodness me. If you haven't worked out where we are, by the way, we're directly behind that sort of porter cabin thing that those walkers were just walking past. And in a minute or two we'll take a quick look behind the scenes here at Harefield Hospital Television, just give you some indication of how it works, what it's all about, that sort of thing. We'll have a look in a few minutes. There's people starting to make their way home, on 4 wheels, most of them. They've exercised their legs quite enough, I'm sure they feel. And who can argue? Especially not me, since I've been firmly anchored to my seat all afternoon. There's some folks discussing tactics, possibly discussing the way it all went, and exchanging tips for next year, who knows? So, as I said, we'll have a little look behind the scenes at Harefield Hospital Television. You may not have encountered a hospital television service before. Perhaps you don't know what it looks like behind the scenes at any sort of television service. Well, you're about to be enlightened. Let's find out how it all works.
Hi, I'm talking to my crew.
Oh, my God.
We're not on. I'm talking to the crew that have been backing us up on our one camera. We have here Juliet, Jane and Simon. Now Juliet's been running around getting all the people that we need to be interviewed, and Jane's sort of been running around with the cable and getting everyone out of the way, and Simon, of course, as you can tell by this, has been doing sound. Juliet, why do you come to Harefield? Well, how comes you've got involved?
Well, I haven't got that much money, so I can't make donations, so this is my donation. And I enjoy it, it's good fun, and I've usually come through friends.
Great. What about Jane? Why do you come along to Harefield?
Well, after today, I'm wondering.
Yes.
I've had a terrible stomachache all day. I've been looking for paratroopers in the boardroom, and all they're doing is sitting around looking bored.
And getting drunk as well, I think, by all accounts.
But I do it because I learn so much.
What about television?
About life and
let's turn around if you're talking, I do a bottom.
And television. And television.
And is that why you're here, perhaps, Simon?
Why am I here?
Well, no, is it to learn about television?
Yeah, it was in the beginning. I have learnt a lot since I've been coming up here about 1.5 years now, and now officially the sound supervisor. So I've learnt a lot. I know that I'll never get a job in television, that's for sure.
Why?
I just don't want to do it. It's mad, it's stupid, it's ridiculous, it's too hard.
It's quite chaotic, isn't it?
It's mad. I mean, if you see all this cable that's everywhere, it's taken a lot of people a lot of time to get it all together. I mean, it's cable everywhere. Look at it. It's mad. It's mad. I've never seen so much cable in my life.
I wonder if it's as mad in the studio. I don't know if we're meant to be going back there, or I don't know if we're meant to be going to see Judy.
I don't know where we're going. Hello, where are we going? Back to the studio.
Back to the studio.
Back to the studio.
Who do you think you're pointing at? There's a very provocative microphone being pointed at me. I love those furry covers on the microphones. In case you're wondering why they look like that, that's to stop the wind rustling off the surface of the microphone itself. The microphone's very sensitive, and if you take them outside, you tend to get a horrible rumbling noise as the wind blasts past them. So, that's the scene outside with a camera crew. Let's have a look inside where it's actually controlled from in a vehicle that's called the scanner. I'll tell you in a little while why it's called the scanner, but let's have a look inside. Now, there's me, you see, and there you can see producer and director, and a gentleman who's called the vision mixer, who's responsible for actually selecting the sources of vision, selecting the pictures from the individual cameras that are fed to you to form the program output. The reason the vehicle is called a scanner is that facing the producer and director and vision mixer, there's basically a wall of television sets, each with an individual picture on, and what you have to do is scan those very fast with your eyes to select what is appropriate for putting on the air at any given moment. So that's why it's called a scanner. There's people in there with their eyes scanning frantically across banks of television monitors, and when they see a picture they like, they say, "We'll have that one," and leap onto the button. that is what a scanner looks like from the outside. That red vehicle is the control vehicle for Harefield Hospital Television, and where I'm sitting is in a building just next to it, connected by a whole load of bits of wire. Also connected by loads of bits of wire are our cameras. We've got loads of them. There's one, for example, looking at us. Give it a nice wave. Thank you. And we have other cameras. Wherever you care to look, you'll find a camera belonging to Harefield Hospital Television. There is camera 3, out and about, just down the road from here. These cameras, by the way, are well-travelled beasts. You may have noticed during the afternoon the odd blip on the vision. Occasionally it's gone a little strange. I have to explain that these cameras, the kind you're looking at now, have actually been through rather a star-studded life, and a long life as well. Those are the very cameras that were used for a long time on Crossroads, the well-known ITV soap opera. Yes, the very ones. You see, you have to understand that services like Harefield Hospital Television are voluntary. They're charities. They're run on donations. And there isn't a vast amount of money available as a result to spend on buying equipment. A television camera costs thousands and thousands and thousands of pounds. I mean, enormous amounts of money. You could be talking £40,000 for a rather nice television camera. So these ones have been inherited from other services, like, for example, Central Television, various independent television companies. And those ones we were seeing outside there have actually worked for many years on Crossroads. Now you understand perhaps why there may have been the odd bit of interference on your picture this afternoon. If you were a camera and you'd spent your working life being addressed by Miss Diane and Benny and David Hunter, I think you might be in that sort of state. The studio I'm sitting in, outfitted with a desk and chairs and background, inherited from London Weekend Television. You might recognise it from the 6 o'clock show that Michael Aspel presents on London Weekend Television. That's where that all came from. It's all come from somewhere else. So you've seen what it looks like behind. That is what it looks like from the rear of the studio. You can see a little camera pointing at me there. There's another camera pointing at me from further back. And in front of me, heaps of equipment that are supposed to tell me what's happening and what we're going to do next, that sort of thing. So, that's hopefully given you a little insight to what it's like behind the scenes at a television station, particularly this one, Harefield Hospital Television. I hope you've enjoyed our coverage of the Healthy Heart jog, stroke, run, stroke, walk, stroke, stagger this afternoon, complete with the spotty dog and the balloon, which I haven't lost yet. I do hope you've enjoyed it, and we're going to just say goodbye briefly to my co-presenters. For a start, Judy Walker. Judy?
Hello.
Have you had a good afternoon?
I've had a brilliant time. Really good time.
It's been fun, hasn't it?
Yeah, everybody's just having such a good time. They've really made an effort, dressed up, and it's all for a good cause. It's been really good.
A tremendous atmosphere and a real effort made by everyone, and I hope lots and lots of money's been raised too.
Yeah, I hope so too.
So you had a good time, have you?
Yeah, very good.
Yeah, so have I. So until next time, till the Jog 88, it's bye-bye from us.
Bye.
Goodbye, Debbie Kempson and Judy Walker. Thanks very much to them. What a pair of lovelies they are too. Well, we're going to be played out off the air by the Metropolitan Police Band, who have been here entertaining people this afternoon. Until we meet again, I wish you well. Good afternoon.
Go.